Good morning, everybody. Good morning. It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations. And I'm the host of Epic Conversations, 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner, 2018 Innovation Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. I also co-host and co-produce the only online show in the world for dads and fathers. It's sponsored by Doveman Plus Care. And since our team, since 2020, has reached out directly and indirectly to over 300,000 fathers around the world. I also am a featured content contributor to the Fly Nubian Queen YouTube channel that's run by Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins. And that YouTube channel has over 580,000 subscribers. And as of last Tuesday, we were officially on Indie Soup Media TV. Indie Soup Media TV. With a reach with this guy here, and I'm also on have some other shows that are replayed there. Indie Soup Media TV is right there, and you can catch their content. So the Morning Vibe is on twice a week. I'll make sure I don't know the times exactly off my head, but next time we're on, I'll give you that. And also on with replays of Primetime Saturday with Aisha and Lala. Also replays of Black Canada Talking. So I'm on there 4 times a week.
Excellent. Love it.
So that is that. So, and that reach of that platform is over 1 million people. Good morning, Ryan Knight. Happy post Easter.
Yeah, and I learned something new, that Easter is the date that it falls on is attached to the moon in some way. Neil Tyson, deGrasse Tyson, was talking about how it's calculated. So go check out that clip on YouTube to learn. Apparently, it's the first full moon after the March equinox. So, yeah.
Okay. So what's been going on with you, $400,000 man?
So for those that might have seen our part of my newsletter, my consulting newsletter, in the first quarter of the year, we were able to help our clients get over $400,000 in funding. Some loans, mostly grants. So we're telling people, hey, for this quarter, if you are not applying for grants, please reach out. But for those that don't know who I am, my name is Ryan Knight, one of the co-founders of the Afro Caribbean Business Network. So we work with entrepreneurs of African and Caribbean heritage, really to help them create a strategy to grow their companies. And I'm an entrepreneur myself. I started a business called Detailing Nights. So we do mobile waterless car cleaning. So we go to people's houses or their offices, clean their cars on the spot without water, and our plant-based eco-friendly cleaning supplies. And we are in the process of hiring. So if you know somebody that's looking for a job in the summer, or a youth that wants to learn how to start their own business, our next info session is going to be April the 22nd, Monday evening. So that link, I'll get the link and put it up, but we're going to be posting about it. So please share the word if people are interested in working with us for the summer. But yeah, and one thing I do kind of on the side is the consulting, so helping people with their grant applications. And yesterday was a deadline for the My Main Street grant. So got a lot of calls last minute. People like, just checking to see if I qualify. Can you help me write it? But yeah, it was also Easter Sunday, so wasn't able to take a lot of time to be doing writing.
Boy.
So we got a lot of it in early. Yeah.
All right. So before we do any further, let's do our Monday tradition. People know, what's your Monday tradition? Well, this is our Monday tradition. Do you know about this? If you haven't watched the show before, you don't know about this. This is our Monday tradition. This episode of The Morning Vibe is sponsored by the Macmillan Group, providing mortgage solutions one client at a time since 1999. Buying, refinancing, investing, or relocating. Call them Canada, 905-813-4354. US 904-586-5636. So that is part of our Monday tradition. The Macmillan Group, always there to help us out and always to provide their sponsorship. So there you go. Let's get everything back rolling here. Yes. And
Yes, yes.
uh so how was Easter weekend for you?
It was lovely. You know, got to relax with the family, went to see grandma and grandpa. The kiddos got to have their Easter egg hunt. So shout out to the aunties and uncles that put that together for them. It's a full house. We were counting the grandchildren that my parents have, and there's about 13 right now. And I think 12 of them were there. One of them, who Niles, one of the oldest ones, he's out in Windsor at the University of Windsor. So he wasn't able to make it. He's doing his exams and stuff. But yeah, it was good times. Got to relax and just chill out. How about
Good.
yourself?
It was, especially yesterday was relaxing,
Yeah.
chillaxing. It was because one thing, since most of the stores were closed, driving was beautiful. Well, for the
Yes.
most part. For the
There's still
most part.
some hiccups on 401.
Yes, yes. Driving was not too bad. Saturday was cool. Yeah, it was all right. It was all right.
The
I
weather was
enjoyed.
beautiful yesterday too.
It wasn't too bad.
Sun was
It
out.
wasn't too bad. I wish it was a little bit warmer. Okay, Saturday actually,
Ah,
I was Paul Bunyan. I actually went over to my dad's place, and he wanted to get some limbs cut from a tree right in the front. So there I was,
ah,
chainsaw, doing the
yes,
thing.
yes,
Had a
yes.
misstep coming down on the ladder once, and I pulled a calf muscle in the back of my leg. So
Ouch.
that was a little bit painful, but it is healing.
Hmm.
So that is a good thing. You know, one other thing we forgot to do, Monday tradition. Here's also the contact information
Hmm.
for the McMillan Group. Canadian number, US number, toll free. Website, the McMillan Group Inc.com, and email raycmcmillan@gmail.com. So my apologies. We usually do
Excellent.
that Monday tradition. So that was okay. Yeah, it was, and it's still somewhat a holiday for some people. Like, are schools off today?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
Easter Monday.
Yes.
Easter Monday. So that the
And they're
traffic.
also going to be off next week, Monday. I know in Durham, because of the eclipse,
Oh
they're telling students
yes,
to stay home.
yes.
So keep that in
So
mind,
yeah,
parents.
we're gonna, yeah, the eclipse. Yeah,
So
that's
apparently,
gonna
a
be.
million people are going to Niagara Falls to watch it. They're expecting over a million people. That's
Now, I'm
wild.
not saying this badly. How many accidents are there going to be?
Of what? People staring at the sun?
No, no, no. Just people driving there and back.
Hey, I'm curious how many people on a daily basis go to Niagara Falls, because how much more is a million than the regular visitors? So that's gonna, and
Absolutely.
they're saying the hotels are jacking up the rates.
Of
It was right,
course.
yeah, yeah.
Of course. Uh, good morning, Frequency Event Promotions. Have not heard from you in a bit. Hope things are going well. And you have an event. You always have events coming up. So I know there's always things going on in your world. Happy belated Easter weekend. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's the
So
5-year anniversary. April
yes.
6th. Yes.
Uh did how much bun and cheese did you have?
A good amount of slices. Yes.
How
And for
much
those,
how much oxtail did you have?
I got to enjoy my dad's oxtail yesterday, so that's, I compare everything to that, and it hit the mark. So yes, I
Mhm.
had to introduce. My son was hesitant with having some oxtail,
Oh,
so
he
I was like,
can't be a night child if he
"It's
does
a-
that.
like, what are
You
you?"
get
Yeah,
disowned by that.
yeah.
That's means to getting excommunicated from your
You
family.
see? So yes, yes, he had to make sure and get his fill. It was good.
Wow.
Yeah.
Forcing the child to eat oxtail cannot be okay. Frequency says also happy second quarter or Q2. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, something interesting that came out the last few days, and as I put
I've
out
got something interesting too. Go
that
ahead.
newsletter about the 400,000 Q1, so none of that funding was from the Face Coalition for my clients, and an article came out by Blacks about
Uh-oh,
the Face
here we
Coalition.
go.
So I'm very curious
Oh,
people's
here we
thoughts on,
go.
and we're about
So,
to do our own study to see how many people in our network are getting the loans, because there's 6 banks that have Black focused loans and the Face Coalition. So we want to see our people actually getting this money, because one thing the article said, and it's funny because I talked about it on Friday. Yeah.
Now, actually, the gentleman who wrote that article, I'm going to try reaching out to him today to see if he'll come on the show.
Gotcha. Because I saw Perry Douglas had a quote in there.
Oh, there's okay. Okay, go finish because we're gonna get into it now. You've led into something.
No, what I was saying on Friday, I was on an Instagram live with Portia that does credit building, and we were talking about funding and getting help with getting loans and getting help with getting grants. And there's a couple other gentlemen on there, one Wealthy Zach and CK the broker, that do more about loans. But one thing that came up time and time again is all the loan programs are going to treat you the same as the traditional banks, like the way that underwriters work. So people shouldn't be expecting anything different if they're going for money from people. So just to preface that. So yeah, that was an interesting article. See, the article seemed a bit late though. I mean, Base has been out for 2 years. That article should have came out at least a year ago.
Okay. All right. So I don't know. Okay. I'm going to do a preemptive something before we get into it, because you've opened up a Pandora's box. You've somewhat opened up a Pandora's box. Okay. So one of the articles, because more and more now I'm keeping on top of what's going on economically, because just myself, if our people are going to move forward, it's got to be through economics. Right? 100%. We live in a capitalistic society. You got to do it. Okay, interesting article. Now, this is based in the U.S. I don't think it's much different here. Do you see the title of this article, Ryan?
Okay, wait. The wealth of the 1%. Wow, 44 trillion.
40. So 1%, the top 1% in America have a wealth of $44.6 trillion.
Wow, that's intense.
That's their net worth. So look at this graph. So 2020 it was down to 30 trillion dollars. Obviously, pandemic. Since the pandemic, the top 1% wealth is increased by over $14 trillion.
Yeah, and that's an exponential jump. That's like,
and you know where they build most of their wealth increase? Investing in the stock market. So I'm investigating how to get involved in that arena, even if it's little stuff, because the stock market, we have to take a look at investing in the stock market, even if it's small, because the stock market, if you look at what's happened in the stock market since the pandemic, it's going up. It's going up.
Yeah, and I mean, I dabble in it. Wealth Simple definitely helped to get an initial account open and start buying stuff that I like. But
you got to think long term.
That we wear.
you got to think long term. You got to be able to. So, for example, again, I'm going to say Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia. Dr. Alicia bought NVIDIA stock about 5-6 years ago. She just put money in.
Yeah.
You know how much she bought? $5,000 worth. You know how much it's worth today?
Oh man, 20,000. How much?
90 grand.
Wow. That's why I love that.
Right. So we do our loans, we do our things, but we should definitely be looking at the stock market, because I was told a long time ago, if you're low class, you move to middle class, buying a home. From middle class to top class, stock investments.
Okay. The stocks I like are the dividend paying stocks. Every so often you get an email saying you got a dividend payout.
Right? So some things here. Dr. Vibe and Ryan, we're back tie affair, Saturday, April 6th. We're both you were right, celebrating. Look who's in the house. Dr. Tachi, I did my promo for you verbally a few moments ago on Indie Suit Media, but thank you for doing I saw a bit of the first day we were on last Tuesday. I don't know if I caught it live, but I did catch it live on the website. She also says, good morning to Frequency Event Promotions, Fitness IQ Cam, says Manan, Listen to this. We're both invited and bring a complimentary tickets can be emailed today. So been invited.
Wonderful. Yeah, you know how I don't do well at black tie events.
No, I'm black. I don't need a tie. I'm black.
I got kicked out of a black tie event for not wearing a black tie.
Ooh,
Yeah.
okay, hold on. We need to hear about that story. Hold
No,
on.
I
Okay,
can't
no.
talk about that. I can't talk
Fitness IQ Cam says yes about the stock market. She says investing is the key. Correct. Frequent says, Dr. Tachi, how are you? She also says hi to Fitness IQ Cam. And Fitness says, hello, Dr. Tachi. So some family is here. I know some people may be doing a little bit of vacation thing, but that's okay. You got kicked out of a block. You're not going to tell the story, are you?
Only those that were there know the story. It was not a good experience.
Okay.
But it's funny now. But yeah, at the time,
it wasn't funny then.
I wasn't impressed.
Okay. Fitness IQ Cam says only gala. And Dr. Tachi says Gala King doesn't do well with black tie. Eye emojis. Right. So you and we're not going to get into it too much now because we have a new friend coming on. There is some noise going on about a 4-letter organization.
Oh boy. If it's the one you're thinking or I'm thinking,
yeah,
it's a lot of noise. Yes.
Do we want to talk a few seconds about that, or do you want to save it for another day?
That I think we need some reinforcements to talk about that. But for those that so hold on, if you're a member of the one I'm thinking is the BBPA, you got a letter that explained a lot of the happenings if you're a member. So if you're not a member, we should definitely have an episode to talk about the letter so that people know a little bit of both sides. But unless you've been under a rock, their CEO that just came in, Leanne Hanaway, has now departed. So things are starting to ruminate about only 50 days. And she was on like a big tour going around and, talking about being the new CEO of the BBPA. And now a LinkedIn post comes out that she's not anymore, couldn't get on terms with the board. So yeah, I haven't gotten all the details yet.
Oh boy, I've heard a lot, and from the inside, there is a lot going on, and it is not pretty.
Oh boy,
it's not pretty. There's a lot. I won't.
Anything on why she left, though?
Pardon me?
Anything on why they left, or
I don't know why she left, but I have heard from reliable sources some of the things that she. Okay, I'm just gonna go high. You know what? Should I say this or not?
It's up to you.
Okay. Last I heard, at the present time, they don't have an event planner for their event coming up the end of this month.
The event planner? Doesn't Brandy Q usually do it?
It wasn't Brandy Q. There is a gentleman who runs a fairly significant event planning company. You may know who he is. He was the same gentleman who did your event down in Windsor.
Oh, okay, nice. Yeah.
Well, he was supposed to be doing the Harry Jerome Awards.
Gotcha.
They ended the relationship with him.
But then who's planning it?
As I said, from last I heard, we won't go any deeper right now, but there is, it's some of the things that I know and some things I heard, like the Harry Jerome Awards this year are going to be very interesting. So that's the annual event that the BBPA holds to celebrate Black success and all that.
Yeah, the signature event.
It could be very interesting. Some of the things I am hearing from reliable sources.
Well, and since the ACBN team is going to be there holding up our People's Choice Award winning plaque from Buy Blacks, shout out to buyblacks.com for choosing ACBN as their people. I'm joking, by the way. We're not I couldn't afford the tickets, so unfortunately, I'm not able to make it.
And how much are the tickets?
Last I checked, 325, I think.
Something like that.
Ugh.
Something like that. So
Yeah, it's heavy.
all I will say is, as someone told me, it's something, and a story is not going away.
Oh boy.
And I know there is at least one major Canadian news organization that is calling around to ask about this story. So if they're getting involved,
right,
it's something. So I won't go. I'm not going to go. There's a lot more that I know, but I'm not going to say.
But this is where us as a community, and yes, people have their thoughts of the BBPA, whether good or bad, but we need to be able to come together and have conversations, closed door, and get things out on the table, flush it out, and then understand where we're going forward. Like, it shouldn't. I hope this doesn't come out in the media.
Oh, well, but no, it's going to come out. It's going to come out.
Having a conversation first. It's like BBPA is part of the Black entrepreneurship ecosystem. So whatever happens to them is going to have that domino effect.
Well, this is
organizations.
So this is where always the concern is.
Mm-hmm.
We have to realize that when we do something, it's not just going to impact us.
Exactly.
And that's just my thought. That's very selfish thinking.
Right.
So we have to realize that everything, like I realize as a content creator, a African content creator, that a lot that I do, especially with some of the people I know, that's going to be a reflection on everybody else. So we have to realize that, especially when you're out there publicly, people are watching you.
100%.
Right?
Our children are watching.
Exactly. And legacy-wise, etc. So we have to realize that this is a very serious situation, because this is probably Africa Canada's longest running nonprofit organization, major one, been around for years and years and years. One of the founding members, Denham Jolly, who my dad and Denham Jolly have told people before, go back 70 years.
Right. And is this the type of legacy that he'd want to see how it's being operated?
You don't want to get Mr. Denham Jolly upset, please.
Right,
it's not again, but there's stuff coming. I'm sure as stuff goes on, we'll get into it, but we'll just say it's something. It's something. And it's not going away. This is going to linger, whether it's within our constellation or outside our constellation, it's going to linger. But we're going to talk about it, I'm sure, as time goes on. We're going to get ready for a break, and then we're going to come back and introduce a new friend to the Morning Vibe, especially, people like us, but especially women who look like us is an interesting topic. We're going to be talking about Black women and kinky hair. Yeah, we're going to go there. Yes. We're going to go there, Black women and kinky hair. So we'll be back in about 2 minutes. Thanks for taking time on Easter Monday, 2024 to catch the Morning Vibe. We'll be back in about 2 minutes, and you don't want to miss this conversation. We'll be right back.
And that's what I feel like. You feel like you're the Harriet Tubman of the mind.
I am.
I feel like I'm I'm one of the Harriet Tubmans of intelligent Black people. Like, I want to liberate y'all from like being left behind and ignored and oblivion. No, really, the rappers get all the attention. Seriously, does anybody else feel this way? Like ignorant Black people, they'll be all up, getting all the headlines on the Shade Room.
Overly sexualized Black folks.
Like the twerkers and the, just people that, don't always represent the best of us, the diversity, like people like Dr. Vibe. Like, everybody should know about people like Dr. Vibe. Dr.
Really
Vibe he's trying to do good work for Black people. Dr. Vibe from Toronto. Good to see you, my brother. Dr. Vibe. Everybody follow Dr. Vibe. He has a great show. He's very good at what he does, and I have a lot of respect for him. The men who are also doing the same thing. I see Dr. Vibe in here. He's a great brother. Everybody should follow Dr. Vibe, by the way. He's a smart brother in Canada, and we need to follow smart people. So follow Dr. Vibe if you see him in the chat. And Dr. Vibe, say your name in the chat so people can see you. I want you to click on his name, and I want you to go follow him, please, because I want these men and women that are doing the right things to get the support they deserve. Hey, Dr. Vibe, how you doing, brother? Again, like I always do, I gotta say everybody should go follow Dr. Vibe. He's got a great show. Dr. Vibe, I know Dr. Vibe's got a kingdom because I see your channel. I see you pouring into that every day. Everybody should follow Dr. Vibe, by the way. Look him up, Dr. Vibe, Vibe. He's a great friend of me and my wife, and I love this guy.
Okay, so let me hop into this. What's up, Dr. Vibe? How you doing? Everybody, if you see Dr. Vibe in the chat, everybody go follow the Dr. Vibe show. Dr. Vibe is a real smart brother and a good human being. I like the guy a lot, and he's very intelligent. And I think everyone should pay attention to what he's got going on. We got to shine the spotlight on the intelligent Black people out here that are really doing the good work. Don't just pay attention to the rappers and the celebrities. You know, a lot of these people are losers. Your true winners are your people in your community that are really having your back. Helping us to have stronger families and a stronger community. So Dr. Vibe is in that category. So you might see the Dr. Vibe show in this chat. If you see him, please go follow him. Okay. All right. So anyway.
I like that. When Dr. Boyce says, I have a kingdom. I love that. And I think that's one of my wishes for everyone who looks like us, that each one of us has a kingdom. So I ask everybody, what is your kingdom? Do you have a kingdom, and what is it?
Right. I like that.
You know? So before we get into our new friend, few things. Subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button. Also follow the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. To advertise your business, product, or service on any of the platforms that I host, please email me, dr.vibe at vibeshow.com. And finally, join our Discord group where we keep up the conversation in between conversations. And also, if you want to get a hold of Gala King, there he is. Gala King is there. He's there. He's there. He's there. He's there. So one last thing before we get to our guests. Should I have applied for this digital Main Street thing? I heard was it for brick and mortar?
Right. Yeah. It's that one.
Yeah. So no need. All right.
You're good.
Cool. So let's just catch up with some comments. We'll get into things. Frequency Event Promotion says, oh no, about that 4-letter organization. Fitness IQ Cam Bacchanal. And interesting enough, she interviewed Ross a few weeks ago on her Saturday show.
Okay, so yeah, that was before the melee.
Yeah, before the it just went bam bam. Frequency Event Promotions, I hope that this organization will figure it out. Yeah, they will, but it's going to be at what cost? And then Good Morning Opal Inspired. Check out her creations on YouTube. All right, we have a new friend on the show today, and I had a chance to meet her at Ryan's organization's last symposium. Nice. Was it back the beginning of February? Was the first Saturday?
Yeah, 2nd of March.
2nd of March.
Just about a month ago.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I met her briefly there, and she reached out to me saying, Dr. Vibe, I'd love to come on your show and talk about this topic. I go, this sounds good. This sounds good. And I'm saying, I can't relate. And you'll know why. If you're watching this live in the replay, I can't relate. You'll know why. But we said, all right, well, let's bring up Daniella Addison of Ofori Beauty, talking about Black women and kinky hair. So as we put her there, and we put her there. Good morning, Danielle.
Good morning, Dr. Vibe. Good morning, Ryan.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm very well. Thank you for asking. And how are you both doing?
I'm Blackalicious. I'm Blackalicious.
I'm trying to catch up.
Yes. No, Ryan's a $400,000 man. I see this email and such
and growing.
Weekend. 400,000 and growing, right? So so he's just making things happen. How was your weekend?
It was really good. Thank you so much for asking.
Good. So before we get into the hair thing, can you give us and our family a little background on yourself?
Sure. My name is Daniella Addison. I'm a registered nurse here in Ontario with experience in public health. I used to work for Toronto Public Health, and I did a lot of education on immunizations before branching out and beginning my own business called Ofori, where I provide education on skin bleaching, hair relaxers, and unhealthy protective styles in the Black and BIPOC community.
All right, so let's talk a little bit of Ofori. How did that start? What was the passion for you to start that business?
I knew I wanted to be my own boss and have my own business, and people tend to speak to me about my skin, and so I thought I would start a skincare company. And while doing that, I was speaking to someone, and they said, "What does your skin mean to you? Like, what is it
Ooh.
about your skin?"
Mhm.
And I started going through what my skin has meant to me growing up in Canada, which is a bit different from individuals like my parents who got to grow up back home around people that looked like them. I grew up here in the 90s with, I mean, you could go 2 weeks before you saw another Black person. I grew up in London, Ontario. So
Oh, yeah.
it was very Caucasian dominant.
Mhm.
And it causes you to feel a bit very different. I felt very different because I didn't see people that looked like me, but I didn't receive many racist comments. It actually wasn't until I moved to Brampton in high
Ah!
school. Uh, I was around lots of Black people, and I started to get comments like, "Why is your hair natural? Why are you so dark, girl?" And
Okay, let me just interrupt. Were those questions coming from melanated or non-melanated or both?
from melanated, only melanated,
Mm.
only the light skin melanated, especially.
Okay.
And those were the thoughts that were coming to me when I was thinking about my like creating my business, and that's what made me want to start talking about these topics and start having these discussions about colorism and texturism, and how we treat each other as people of color.
Wow.
Absolutely.
How long has Ofori been in existence?
So I actually jumped right in 2024, but I've been building it since 2022.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay.
And you
Go
mentioned the
ahead, Brian.
way we treat each other. So, can you walk us through kind of the mindset of, colorism and our hair, how we keep it, like how that impacts our mind and how we treat each other?
Sure, yes, definitely. When I moved to Brampton, that was when I kind of realized that light skin was better, and there was kind of this light skin versus dark skin thing going on. And well, the thought is that light skin is better,
Mhm.
right? And that's what they try to suggest. And it's a bit of teasing going on. And you've got this light skin versus dark skin thing going on. And then you've got this natural versus relaxed hair going on, where the darker you are and the kinkier your hair is, you are seen as not beautiful, especially for a woman. You're seen not as beautiful as the woman who's light skinned women are perceived to be more beautiful, and women whose hair has less of a kink of it, more of a curl, more of a bounce, is seen as more desirable. um, and so I wanted to start having those conversations to understand why we think this way and how we can make a change to love ourselves, um, with how we were born, and not feel the need to change or compromise ourselves to fit in, especially when we're in that high school age.
But is there like a pushback you get? Like, how's the conversations with people that you bring this up to? Like, do we admit to having that kind of bias, or is like once you mention it, then we're like, oh yeah, you're kind of right? Like, how's the feedback been with people you're talking to?
So especially when it comes to the colorism conversation, they're like, oh yeah, they've definitely
Mm.
either seen it or experienced it firsthand. They've got their own examples, they're chiming in, and they're giggling while they're doing it, and it's usually a conversation where the individual understands and knows exactly what I'm talking about when I reference it.
Right.
When it comes to the hair, it's the same thing, but then there is this social aspect of their hair, as they're not confident to go out to work or to school or to be in a more dressier situation with their friends. So going out in those social groups, they don't feel confident with their natural hair to do that. So although they may know what causes, what it leads to, what those practices lead to, they don't feel the confidence enough to not practice it. They will still continue knowing the damage that it causes.
I want to jump in here. You had mentioned a statement a little bit earlier. I want you to answer directly. What does your skin mean to you, and what does your hair mean to you?
My hair and my skin definitely do tell a lot about myself, my family, my heritage, my culture. So it's very important to me. And unfortunately, at one point in time in my life, as a teen, I didn't know that and I didn't believe that. My hair or my skin was a reflection of me or my family or my heritage. And I got sucked into peer pressure and began using skin bleaching creams to be a little bit lighter and fit more in, and began relaxing my hair. Um, and I'm lucky enough that my dad was around and saw when I began using the skin bleaching creams, and he snatched that so quick. I mean, it was quick. I used it for about 4 or 5 days, and he had a very, very strong conversation with me about, our skin and how dark we are and how I should love my dark skin. And, now I do, and now I see how different I look from the rest of my family. My family is super dark, very, very dark. And so I was an easy target for many, many of these remarks at school. But now I look like the odd one out when we're taking like a family picture or something, because I am definitely the lightest person in my family.
Wow. Wow. So let me get, what is, since we are two African men, we want to get this definition from you. What is the definition of kinky hair? Because before we came on live, I had an image and you said, no, that's not it. I said, okay, let's get the expert to tell us what kinky hair is.
So kinky hair is it's described as kink because of the recoil that it has. So it's kind of like the door stopper. Yes. So that's what kinky hair looks like. It's afro. And the door stopper you have behind your door, just the way it's super tight and coils. That's exactly the way our hair is. So when we stretch it out and it bounces back, that coil is what we call the kink, because it's not like that super what we're used to seeing where it's just very round and circling down. Our hair kind of zigzags. It has a Z formation in it, so it's more of a kink than a curl.
Okay. All right. All right. So the hair thing is always a continuous conversation with us. I want you to kick off the conversation because you wanted to chat specifically about Black women and kinky hair. So I want you to kick it off, and Ryan and I will add salt and pepper along the way.
Yes, perfect. Thank you. So I think if we're going to talk about kinky hair, we first need to start talking about the history. So historically, in Africa, Black women had a lot of hair, and they did a lot of different designs with their hair. No extensions were needed, and they use a lot of hair threading, and they use a lot of herbs on their hair at that point in time, and they had a lot of hair. There are certain African villages and countries that still use a lot of natural herbs. Chebe powder is something that's very popular right now, and we know a lot about that that group that uses chebe powder. They have waist length hair, and they are just as Black as us. So we know that we can attain that hair, and one of the things we need to understand is the impact of slavery on our history of our hair. And one of the things that slave owners did when they brought slaves from Africa to the Americas was they shaved their head, because having hair is a lot about your identity, right? So hair used to symbolize things such as your family or your status in the community. And it was a great way to, it could be styled in different ways to show that. And so it meant a lot to people of color. And that's why that was one of the first things that they got rid of, right? To break you down, we need to get rid of the things that you love and that mean something to you and that give you an identity. So hair was one of the first things to go. And because of that, it made it easy to condition them, right? If you don't have any hair and you long for it, you're going to look at the people who have hair, and what they wanted was to be so much like the Caucasian slave owners, right? They wanted to be accepted, and they wanted to be accepted under any circumstance. So because looking more Caucasian meant that you were more human, and it in some cases decreased the amount of punishment that you had. And so they wanted that straight hair to be able to fit in more, and that led to the creation of things such as the hair relaxer, which was not invented until the late 1800s. So before that, there was no such thing. We were just using our Afro hair, and we were just styling that as it was. And we're forced to use things such as bacon grease for our hair, or butter, because they didn't have the things that they needed, that they were used to care for their hair and to moisturize their hair. And they were not getting these things from their owners, right? They had to try to make these things and use what they had to find a way to care for their hair. So unfortunately, they were not able to use the best products to do that. And so what that causes is them using things like butter, kerosene, to try, pardon me?
I just said, whoa.
Yeah. It's unfortunate, but those were the things that were used to try to soften and moisturize the hair. And that also led to other inventions, such as the hot comb, which was not invented until the 19th century. And again, it was just to get your hair straight, so that you could fit in. And fitting in meant you could get married, you could get a good career. There was social acceptance. And so these were things that were very important to, especially women. Women tend to be, women tend to care more about how they look. So, women will take an hour to get their hair and their
We've never experienced these things, right, Ryan? Never. Never.
Oh,
Go
man.
on.
Yes.
Go on.
women love to look beautiful, and we do all these things to prepare for ourselves. Today I have a lovely pompadour on, and I took some time to shape it and everything. It's just one of the
How
things.
much time did you take?
I took about half an hour.
Okay, thank you.
Whereas I'm sure Dr. Vibe and Ryan, it did not take you guys that long to do your hair.
Okay, now hold on a second.
Right.
Okay, now hold on. For like when I take a shower and all that stuff, it's about half an hour in total. Putting on my clothes.
She said just on her hair was half an hour.
Oh, sorry, I misquoted. My hair takes about 10 minutes.
It has a good shine on it. I know you probably put some work in.
Well, like I said, people don't realize it. I can have bad hair days. Like when this isn't smooth, it's a bad hair day to me. I want to make sure it's smooth because
yes.
like
You don't want
because I want whoever touches it, and that you have to have permission to touch it, by the way, that they get smooth. Sorry about that, Dan. I had to jump in there. So continue on. And there's actually a bunch of comments here, but continue on.
So yeah, I think I was just talking about the hot comb that was invented, and then it became much easier for a woman of color to now achieve these type of looks from home, and they started using these these tools to get their hair to appear more straighter so that they could fit in. And that has led to generations of women of color using these products until today. And 2019, a study was done. They said 80% of African American women said that they need to change their hair to fit in.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes. And I'd probably say if we did this survey in Canada, we'd probably get close to similar results.
I 100% believe that.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, let's get to comments. I see Ryan sort of like he's got something to say. So before we get there, look, comments. Fitness IQ says, "Morning, Danielle."
Good
Also,
morning.
we got some other things. Laura Key, good afternoon from Seville, Spain.
Yay.
And actually,
Yes,
I'm going to
sir.
put it out there. She is one of the co-hosts on Primetime Saturday with Isha and Lala, which is on Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And also her husband, both of them are very gifted musicians. Laura has an incredibly beautiful voice. I haven't heard her husband say, yes, I have. Both of them have beautiful voices, but they're actually going to be doing a European tour in the next few weeks and going to Africa on their tour, by the way. Also, Ray McMillan says, good morning. The father-daughter relationship is one of the most important in a young girl woman's life. It is there that she learns how to love and define herself. Absolutely. Laura says also, this topic is so important. Thank you for discussing this. And Hayton Morrison says, this very beautiful lady is the definition of a strong. What? Now behave now, Hayton. Behave now. That's fantastic. We got some. He has a question. Have you considered writing a book on kinky hair history?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And it's something that I could definitely think about. I think there is a lack of research in that area. So maybe that's something that, I could do. As a nurse, I could definitely,
I think that's
research in that.
Yeah, I would love to connect you with a lady named Annette that wrote a magazine called Hello Hair, and she's creating, they're not dolls, they are, I think, mannequins, or like the dolls that you practice hairstyling on. Well, not the dolls, like the head models, I think they're called, but using our hair and actually having that real hair to practice on, because usually you can't get that. So I'd love to connect you with her. She was actually at the Dragon's Den auditions the last time we went down. So
nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Also, Fitness IQ says, listen, wash day are a different thing.
Oh, right.
Yes. Yes. Separate. Yes. So Laura says, I take more time on my hair for a special event than my makeup.
Wow. Yes.
There you go. And what was it? We did a show a few Saturdays ago, and I can't remember. There was a lady who commented on Laura's hair. I can't remember what she called it. Puffy hair or poofy sexy hair. I can't remember that, but she goes, however, wash day with Afro locks are a different story. All right.
Yes.
And from the DMV, Serena Wills, good to have you here.
Good morning.
And Chris, I got another person supporting. Yes, that'd be great. A book on kinky hair, certified bestseller. I'm calling it now.
Thank you, Chris.
Nice.
There you go. Oh, yes. There we go. Flirty hair. That's what they say. Yes, one of the viewers called it. Laura had her flirty hair going. That is cool. Gotcha. That is cool. So continue on in this journey, because I definitely I'm going to ask you this question now. So I got a question. I was discussing this live conversation on the weekend with someone. They said, ask her this question. What is your advice for women who are experiencing polycystic ovary syndrome, PCOS, or any other hormonal issue relating to hair loss?
So thank you for that question, Dr. Vibe. Definitely anything related to hormonal, I would say speak to your physician, because there can be a few different reasons why that's going on. And so they really need to dive into that individual, their PCOS, and, be thorough when they go through it. But one of the things that I will advise for anyone who's having any sort of hair loss is to stop using extensions and relaxers. because they break
Why?
they break our hair.
Mm.
They break our hair. So for example, like relaxers, everything about relaxers is going to damage your hair. So to first off, before you put in a relaxer, they're going to tell you not to wash your hair, not to scratch your hair. You need to come in with dirty hair. Why? Because the product that they're using is going to burn your scalp. And so they want there to be buildup on your hair so that when they put the relaxer on your hair, it's not really touching your scalp. It's
like a buffer.
exactly. So
A buffer of dirt?
a buffer of dirt. Yes.
What are we talking about?
A buffer of dirt.
Okay.
And with that being said, buildup is not good for hair growth. It's not good. It's not healthy. One other thing they'll do before they even start relaxing your hair is they'll slap a whole bunch of Vaseline around the perimeter of your hair. Again, that is for the burns because there will not be any buildup on the perimeter of your hair. So they're gonna put Vaseline there. If they forget and the chemicals touches your ears, which has happened to me, it'll burn right off. Like literally, like you'll see red, you'll see your flesh underneath. That's how powerful these relaxers are. So you put the relaxer in, they give you the wash, they wash it out. Let's say everything has gone good so far. One of the advice they're going to tell you is don't wash your hair for a week and try not to scratch. Why can't you wash your hair for a week? Your head is tender. Your head is tender. If you put your hand over your head, it may feel a little bit warm, not even touching the scalp yet, but you may feel a little bit warm. It's kind of like if you've ever bumped or hurt your hand really bad, and you won't necessarily see any blood, but if you put your hand over it, you can feel that area is a little hot. You've
It's recovering.
Yes, so exactly. It's that inflammation that is on your head. You may have scalp burns. I've had that on my head. And so these are part of the reasons why they tell you to wait a week, because it'll give it time to heal. It'll become like a sore that it's starting to heal. So the water does not hurt as much. But people with relaxed hair typically don't put water in their hair. They're afraid of water because they don't want any sort of kink to come back. Water will also help your hair to grow. So if they add too much water, the roots will start growing and your roots will not be straight. They'll be kinky. And so yeah, they don't want that. So they're afraid of doing the things that you need to do to keep your hair healthy. People will say, I have my hair relaxed and it's halfway down my back. Yes, that can be possible. Our bodies naturally will adapt. And so, you can get length, but that doesn't necessarily mean health, right?
Okay.
Just because your hair is super long doesn't mean it's healthy. Yes, you can have a lot of hair while relaxing, but as of 2015, they've also said that with Black women, we have the highest rate of alopecia, period.
Okay, tell people what that is because some people may not.
So alopecia is the balding of the head. So you may have certain areas where you don't have hair growing anymore that you used to have hair growing in. And so you're going to be losing your hair, and Black women have the highest rate of hair loss, specifically traction or tension alopecia. So that is caused from tight hairstyles. It is also our fourth highest dermatological diagnosis. So when it comes to hair and skin, that is the fourth highest diagnosis, period.
Wow. Okay. Go ahead. You can count. Now, let me catch up on some comments here. So
Okay.
Laura says that in regards to relaxers, yeah, and they're full of poison.
Yes.
Serena says, and also if you're losing your hair around the edges, stop doing hairstyles that pull tightly.
Yes.
Fitness IQ Camp says not to scratch the hair. Oh,
Oh yes,
And
with
she
relaxers. Yeah, not to
yeah,
scratch.
and she goes, "I'm remembering those relaxer days." Are there pictures of that Fitness IQ
Oh
Cam?
boy.
I'd love to see that. And Serena says, my neurologist said that women don't think of this when they use chemicals in your hair and scalp. How close your scalp is to your skull and brain. It only takes 20 seconds for stuff to get through those pores.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. And of course, Fitness IQ Cam is not going to show us those pictures because he says, don't worry about that, LOL. All right. So continue on. This is a really good educational session because it's somewhat similar to the last time we had a Wayne Harris on. He was, I don't know if it was the last time or the time he was talking about women use with their press on nails and going to the shop to get that done. And the chemicals, he says the chemicals that they use to do that, like our fingernails are porous. So
Oh,
he said when you're putting that stuff on, I'm not a medical expert. Maybe he knows what he's saying. The chemicals end up seeping through your nails into your skin.
mm.
I'm not saying, I'm just saying. Continue on.
Yeah, so anything that we put on our skin will be absorbed, right? So any lotions, any creams, any soaps, any relaxers, they will be a little bit will be absorbed by the skin because with the relaxers it is washed out, but at the moment that it's on the skin, your body is absorbing it, and so with that comment that said, uh, that the chemicals may pass through and go to the brain. There is also thoughts that it causes cancer, specifically uterine cancer, and there is a slew of companies that are being sued right now. Some big names that we all know and probably have used are L'Oreal, Dark and Lovely, Just for Me, Motions, African Pride. These are some of the, like, I would say, A-listers when it comes to hair relaxers. These are the relaxers that are normally used. And so they have things such as parabens, metals, formaldehyde. Um, for people who don't know, formaldehyde is what they use to preserve like frogs and pigs for high school dissection in grade 11 biology. That's what they use to preserve it, and that's what they're using also to make hair relaxers, and we're putting it directly.
Wow.
Holy, is that blue magic on that list? I always remember seeing that list.
I haven't seen Blue Magic on that list yet. But I mean, one of the big things that I will say that all these lawsuits contain is failure to warn consumers. So what that means is that the individuals who are suing are saying that these companies knew ahead of time what would happen when consumers use the relaxers, and they chose not to warn people because of the billions of dollars that they were making.
Gotcha. Similar like cigarettes, how they knew how bad
Exactly.
it was, and still, that's wild. But I was curious. I know with your transition from relaxing your hair to then allowing it to be kinky, what was it like for you, both mentally and physically? Because for those that might be considering making that shift, I'm curious to if you could share your story on that transition.
Definitely the transition was not easy. So I used to wear um, weaves, frontals, extensions, blonde, red, you name it. I had it. And it was almost like an addiction. So stopping was quite hard, to be honest with you. I haven't worn any fake hairs in almost 2 years now, but the wigs are still in the basement in a bag. And it's like, why do I have them? Why do we hold on to it? Um, I don't know. It's very hard. My first couple of weeks where I was natural, I literally didn't know what to do with myself, you know? And when I say natural, I mean no extensions in any shape or form. you know? So a lot of people will say they're natural, but it's under their wig. You can't see it. It's under their wig
Right, right.
or something. And so it's almost like a shock when I started ponytails every day, and then slowly started to come online and see like, okay, what are other girls doing? How are other people wearing their hair? And try to get my like, you know, 2 or 3 main hairstyles that I can wear daily that don't take, you know, more than 10 minutes to get myself prepared. But I mean, you do have to start to love yourself and love your hair and get to know your hair. What can my hair do? You know, play around with your hair. And you almost have to go back to like being a little girl, because as a little girl, I was never allowed to wear extensions and weaves. And so I tried to kind of think of the styles that my mom allowed me to wear with my natural hair, and try to emulate those without the you know, making it too childish. So without the beads and all the rest of that, but still looking very nice and presentable. And you learn new things each time you try, you know, you do something with your hair. This is the first time with me having this style. I really love it. I will definitely do this again. And so I encourage individuals who are starting out with their hair to just really just try whatever you think. If you see something that you like, just go for it. Try to shape your hair, be patient with your hair, and also understand that long hair doesn't mean that it's healthy. So try to focus more on having healthy hair, and practicing things that will allow your hair to strive and to grow the way you want it to grow. And be patient. I know it's so hard to be patient. You want that big fro that you saw on Instagram today, and it just doesn't work like that. It's day by day, and just take it slowly. Try one style today. You don't like that, there's something else that you can try tomorrow.
All right. Let me catch up because there is a whole pile of comments. I want to catch up here. So Serena Will says, LOL Fitness, my rap doobie was tight. And Dr. Chachi says, yes, this is why relaxers are so dangerous. They are endocrine disruptors. I don't know what that is.
Endocrine. Yeah.
Endocrine disruptors, sorry. Frequency Event Promotion says, we have been 26 years for the last 2 years, but when younger, we use S curls. But man, those chemicals are real. Man, not good at all. Dr. Tachi says, Serena, I know it was. You are from New York City. And it says, and Fitnance goes, yes, Serena, LOL, Ray. She also says, heck, Soratachi, LOL, I had the style down to a science. And Dr. Tachi mirrors what Ryan said. It's like cigarette companies with a thing here. YouTube has been big in the natural hair movement.
Good.
And also Fitness says, I swear, only the older generation that's still conditioned to think relaxer is the way to go.
Wow.
All right. We also have some questions here. Christopher has any thoughts on, quote, hair transplant, unquote, for Afro people?
I don't know much about hair transplants. It's something that I've been seeing as of recently. Again, the thing that I would suggest is if you're doing these things because you're having hair loss, alopecia, the one thing that I would suggest is not going back to the bad habits. So not going back to relaxers and extensions. So if you do have any hair loss, I would suggest doing something to kind of activate that area. So if you're going to be doing massages or anything like that to kind of stimulate that area to start hair growth. But I can't speak to actual hair transplants because I'm not knowledgeable in that specific area.
Stuff. Yes, it is. It sure has. Soratachi, Serena Will says, thanks for a lot of naturalistas go on and share their journey and what to do. Okay. Ray says, since men don't relax, what are some of the causes of men hair loss and how can it be reversed?
Again, you can do some stimulation to your hair. So that can be with your fingers. They also have these scalp massagers. You can get them at like a Winners or something. It's and just massage your head to stimulate it. And you can do it with like an oil. So you can put a bit of castor oil, or they have these tea tree oils as well on your head, and massage. Now, what causes hair loss in men? I don't know. So it could be genetics. It could be something that you've been exposed to or something that you've previously done. Relaxers are not the only ways that people lose hair. So it's a very general question. So I don't know
Okay.
what specifically would cause hair loss, but I know that you can stimulate the area to help with growth.
All right. Another
Mhm.
question here. Like, the men are speaking up today. What is a good hair oil for men best on your recommendation and or suggestion?
So some good hair oils. So first of all, the best hair oils are DIY. So something that you can make at home that contain like the herbs that you would like in your hair. So that may be rosemary. Some people do peppermint. Some people use cloves in their hair. These are all really good, and you can mix them
Do
with
you
your.
have I think you should start maybe putting out recipes. I'm
Yeah.
Okay.
being serious. The natural stuff. Like, I think there's, I don't know if you see it, but I see it, like, and Ryan said it earlier, there's a potential big industry here. Like, and maybe
Definitely.
it's already out
That shit.
there,
Hmm.
but I don't hear about it, especially for men,
Right, right.
right?
Hmm.
Especially for men, because you hear men, like a number of years ago, it was all about the men and taking care of their beards, etc., all that. And interesting, I wonder what the chemicals in those products do. That's a whole other conversation.
Mm.
But I think natural grooming products for men, especially for their skin, because the men healthcare industry is big business, very big business,
Hmm.
especially with millennials, Gen Xers, and all that stuff. It's a big business. So
Mm.
sorry to interrupt, but I just hit my alleged mind.
Yeah, maybe that's something that I could do, make some DIY videos and share them with individuals so they can make their own. But you can definitely use oil such as coconut oil. Castor oil is amazing, has so many amazing properties that are good for the body. There is tea tree oil, peppermint oil, jojoba oil. There's so many good oils. You just got to choose which one you like and that you feel is good for you. And the most important thing is consistency. So be consistent. If you're gonna start and you're gonna do these things, be consistent. So if you know you can do it 3 times a week, make that your thing. That every week you do it 3 times a week. You're doing that 10 minutes or 15 minutes. You're watching a show and you're massaging your exactly. You got your hands going at the same times, so that you're stimulating that area to grow. And the thing about DIY and natural stuff is you can use it on your beard as well. You can use it for your children. So I make the natural stuff and I use it for my kids as well. And my son, he's 6. He's never ever used any sort of extensions or um, relaxers on his head, and his hair is halfway down his back. So it speaks to how well our hair can grow if we let it grow. And there's other little boys who I see at his school that have, a lot of hair. And then when I see the girls, they don't have as much hair. And
Hmm.
the thing that I see is that they're all wearing extensions,
Oh
right?
wow.
So it's causing the breakage.
Gotcha.
Right. So got to catch a pile of comments here. So Fitness IQ says men do relax though. Serena says they help look at the pattern of hair loss and have helped women and men with cancer. Now they're helping women and men who are losing hair and balding due to chemical use alopecia. So she was talking about, and you mentioned traceologists. I know the comment is there. Yes. Ah, there we go. Yes, beard oil are more natural oils. Are they? Hope
Yeah,
you know. You don't have a beard, so I'm wondering how you find out. But sorry, the tracheologist autocorrect. Dr. Tachi says, I make an oil with rosemary oil, jojoba, lecithin, and
Nice.
vitamin E oil. When I tell you this concoction not only strengthened my hair, but it got to my mid back, it works. There you go.
Great.
Yeah, Fitness IQ says, yes, jojoba oil. Yes.
Mhm.
Frequency event promotions, you're causing decisions to be made. Man, I'm thinking of throwing away all my hair oil now. But on a serious note, this was a great great information. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Serena says, Dr. Tatch, I may need that recipe.
Mm-hmm.
Hayden says, I just started the massaging thing. Fitness IQ Cam says, but boys, girls, hair always grows faster.
They're just not damaging it. Hair grows at the same length for everyone, other than you may get a little bit more growth with genetics, but everyone's hair grows the same. So it has to be with the retention. So what are men doing differently? Men are not playing with their hair as much. Men are not going and adding chemicals to their hair as much. Men never put extensions in their hair until as of recently. That was not a thing for them. So it makes sense that men's hair would grow longer and faster because they're also not damaging it.
Okay. Fitness IQ Cam stands says, I have friends that make them, sir. Well, that's no surprise. You have friends everywhere. You're global. Serena says, pronounce trichotologist. It breaks my heart to see toddlers with extensions and their edges are pulled so tight.
Yes.
And she says, and guys who use it, I appreciate all the fellas that take care of their beards. Well, not surprise me. You're so global. Everywhere anytime I go in an event, she's there. People are always around her. So that's just no surprise.
Yes.
I know we've been all over the place. I want to make sure you're wanting to share everything about Black women and kinky hair during this conversation. So if there are things you haven't mentioned, please mention them.
We've spoke about a lot of things. I think I just want to respond to one thing that Serena said about young children with extensions and their edges are pulled so tight. It's actually something that I've noticed that it's only Black people that do. So I specifically went to look for like white and Indian or Asian Latinos that put extensions in their children's hair, and it was so hard to find anything. And when I go online, just in general, I see videos of Black children or Black young girls sitting in some salon owner's chair crying. Their hair is getting done, they're in pain, and they're videotaping them, and then they're like, oh look, they're so happy at the end, they've got a beautiful hairstyle. But the point is that they were in pain, that's why they were crying, and that is directly linked to traction alopecia. So we're setting our kids up to have no hair when they're older in the sake of looking good with that hairstyle for maybe 2-3 weeks, a month, and so we need to really be careful with how we're treating our young girls and their hair, because we're the only race that's doing this. I don't see white people on social media or anywhere putting extensions in their children's hair or sitting there while their child is screaming in pain getting their hair done. I don't see videos of any other race doing this except ours. I'm not sure why it's acceptable, but it's something that we really as parents need to start talking about.
Okay, but I just want to jump here. I think why people accept, because we want to be appreciated by, some would say, the dominant culture.
I can see that, but when your child is in pain crying because of that, I mean, it's like we're not the only a race of color. There are other races of color that aren't doing this. They're not actively hurting their child, right? Because the child is crying in a lot of these videos.
Serena says, yep, I've seen us. I only see us with the babies and toddlers and littles with extensions or hairstyle with their edges pulled so tight.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Ryan, you've been quiet. Thinking, or do you have some stuff you want to share?
No, I just love this perspective and curious any calls to actions for the audience, especially for parents. I have a son and daughter, and I know my daughter is the one that talks about and works with their hair more. So any calls to action for the parents and how we can have these conversations with our children.
Definitely. So if you go on my website, I do offer a workshop where I dive more into this conversation with mothers and empowering them on their hair. I will be posting more blogs on this so individuals can also get more information. But the best that I can tell people to do like today is if you want yourself and your child to have better hair, you need to stop putting the extensions and relaxers in your hair and just learn how to manage your hair directly. So I know that we like significance of braids and cornrows in our heritage, but you don't need to use that with extensions.
Mhm.
It doesn't need to be super tight. And so, what I'm asking everyone to do today is to take that step towards loving themselves and their body and not putting harmful products in their hair or in their children's hair.
Love
All right,
that.
some more
Appreciate it.
comments here. Dr. Tachi says it goes back to the greater good being acceptably in society's eyes rather than your own comfort. I 100% agree on that. All Black people are seen as examples of the race as opposed to individuals. Strong comment. This could be partially why it's acceptable, even when a child is in pain in
Yes.
society's eyes.
Yes.
I want to also, too, before we let you go, this is a billion-dollar industry.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
We ain't getting any money out of it, are
No,
we?
no, we're not. So the people that are making the most out of this, it's usually coming from China, India, and they are usually getting the hair as donations. I've read they are cutting children as young as 2 years old, hair off for wigs and weaves. And so my next question in my research on this is how is consent being taken from the individuals whose hair is being cut, and is there consent from these individuals? Because definitely a 2-year-old cannot give consent.
Hmm. Hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is a billion-dollar issue, and it has been for years. I'll never forget. Well, it's interesting when you go into a store that deals with our people's hair.
Mhm.
Well, there are more now, but a lot of times the people who own it don't look like us. We're the employees,
Yes.
but
Yes.
the owner. And again, here we are in a situation where we're giving money to get something done, and
Mhm.
then at the end we're in the long run we're suffering, we're paying a price, not only financially
But physically.
but physically, emotionally,
Yeah.
health wise. This is there's so many layers to this subject in regards to individuals, society. I'm sure there's a mental health aspect to it.
Of course, and the way it's marketed as a beauty product, right? And it
Right.
contains things that are harmful, but they don't put that in the marketing, right?
Hmm. Hmm. What's next for you on this journey?
Um,
Oh, got a
I'm
good. I actually, you know what? I'm gonna stop you. Ray
okay.
just put a really good question. So there is now an ethical issue in child exploitation.
Yeah, and so it's not now, unfortunately. This has been going on. And this is just research that I've recently found, and I'm trying to dig more into it. But yes, children as young as 2 years old are donating their hair, or that's the words being used, is donating,
Mhm.
and their hair for these individuals to sell. And so sometimes it's done based off of religious beliefs. Again, it's done, and they're shaved up. Their head is shaved and donated for religious reasons, and then it's sold, right? And so these individuals who are actually providing their hair are not getting money for it. And I'm not sure how consent is being done, and if there is consent. And it may not just be child exploitation. It may also be a little bit more than that, because I'm not sure that the individuals who are, I'm donating their hair know exactly what the hair is being used for. And if they're being told that it's for religious reasons, again, mixing money into that, and you're donating it for religious reasons, but then there's profit being made out of it, and not just a little bit, billions of dollars are being made off of it. So
Wow. Okay. Dr. Tachi says, it's interesting. It's the same with fast fashion. We have to realize that for us to have certain things, others may suffer.
yes, unfortunately.
Welcome to capitalism. Capitalism 101. Before we interrupt you with that question, what's next on the journey?
On my journey, currently, I'm going out and providing the information. I hope to be able to teach individuals how to care for their natural hair, how to thread their natural hair. That's one of my main goals, because threading is something that is indigenous to Africa. It's something that is culturally related to me directly. And it's a way that I was able to grow my hair in a very short period of time. And I think that others would appreciate that as well. And it's healthier. You can get many different styles, and some that look like the ones that we have today with extensions, but they're all in your natural hair. And so just asking individuals to be a part of my journey. I do have some things coming up. So if they would like to be a part of that and learn how to better care for their hair and skin, they can follow me and be a part of my journey.
Wonderful. Dr. Tachi says, my mother used to thread our hair all the time.
Yeah. So she knows all about it. Yeah.
Sorry about it. Well, look. Ryan, any final comments?
Yeah, that's excellent. Thank you so much for taking time to be with us.
Amazing.
Thank you for having me here today. Thank you so much to you both for having me here and allowing me to speak to your viewers and having this conversation.
Well, we looked, and the platform is free anytime, because I think there's other aspects you could certainly share with our family about in regards to hair, personal care. So, oh, look at this. So Serena says, I would love to learn about threading. Well, the contact information is there. It's there. You said you want to know about threading. I'll get the contact information is there. Thank you very much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it, I know where you're watching it. Serena, I'll share that comment right now, send that information right now. So let me do this. And what I'll do is share it on all the platforms, or most of the platforms where people are watching. You can get in contact with her. So voila. So thank you again for taking that. And you know what? I want to say thank you for asking to be on the show, because not many people ask. And you said you wanted to be on. And we only met each other very briefly at the ACBN event. So I want to say thank you for taking that step. And I hope it was beautiful for you.
Thank you.
All right. So as always, don't just manage your time, manage your energy, and you and your family, make sure you give yourselves grace.
You as well. Thank you.
You're welcome. Mr. Ryan.
Awesome.
What'd you think? You've got more hair than me on your head, so you must feel okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's ever gotten to the kinky level, but yes. And
so
that was great.
Yeah, what's coming up for you this week?
Digging into helping more people with their funding journeys. That is definitely going to be a focus for April. And of course, the Detailing Nights season is starting. So
yes,
we're
we're almost having a reverse spring, because winter winter was better than this.
It's quite unpredictable. Yeah. So the winter's lingering. So I'm not I'm not impressed with that. But
yeah, we're supposed to get some snow, wet snow, rain this weekend over the next few days. Like this,
that
they're
is
saying today is the best day weather-wise. It's going to happen this week.
look at that.
What? What?
So
That's
brutal.
crazy. That's crazy.
But
Well,
how about yourself? How's the week looking?
a lot of business development going on this week. I got some things focused deliverables that I have to put out to elevate what's going on. I have 2 separate meetings with about a group of 14 entrepreneurs, 2 separate meetings that I hold every 2 weeks. So that's okay. Let me see. There's some comments here. Some comments here. Dr. Tachi, snow, good Lord. Yes. Well, you're in Fort Lauderdale, Dr. Tachi, but you used to live in Buffalo, so you know it can snow anytime, anywhere around here. And Fitness IQ says, yeah, rainy week. I don't mind the rainy week. It's okay. I don't have to shovel it. Don't have to shovel it. But about 2 weeks ago, we were shoveling, right?
Oh man, that was the betrayal.
The betrayal. All right. So if you want to get in touch with Ryan, there's his contact information. I've also put it in all the destinations out there. There's how you can get into contact with me. Website, the drvibeshow.com, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, the drvibeshow, the Dr. Vibe Show, Instagram, the Dr. Vibe Show, X. You know what's interesting? A lot of people, for some reason now, are watching this live on X. And I thought X was like, but a lot of people watching on X. Email dr@the drvibeshow.com. Yeah, I thought people were done with X.
Nah, it's still active.
Wow. So everybody, coming up this Friday, it is the first Friday of the month. So what infamous person shows up on the first Friday of each month, Ryan?
Yeah, gonna be good to see Wayne Harris.
Mr. Harris going to be in town. Okay, this is good. All right, I think we've got everything covered. You can watch replays of this on YouTube, The Dr. Vibe Show, Facebook, The Dr. Vibe Show, Afro Caribbean Business Network, Facebook and YouTube, and Ryan Oneil Knight, YouTube and LinkedIn. I think that is it. That's a wrap. So everyone have an outstanding week. Actually, when we come on Friday, I have a question for the audience. I just thought about that. Actually, I think I may want to incorporate it on at the beginning of every morning vibe show just to see what the engagement is. But you know what? We're out of here. Have a great week. Don't just manage your time, manage your energy. Remember to give yourself grace and live your life as a dream. I said reverse this time. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions. Aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. And remember to give yourself grace and don't just manage your time, manage your energy. We out. Take care of your head. This one, by the way.